Good morning, everyone. Been some great presentations so far, so hoping we can meet that standard. I'm Paul Martin, Head of IT at Graham & Brown, and I'm here today with Steph Nash, who's our UX lead, to tell you about how we've innovated to inspire our customers. So we're a wallpaper retailer and manufacturer. We sell our wallpaper and paint through large DIY chains like B&Q, but we also sell directly to our customers via our website, marketplaces and stores. We have a strong history of innovation. The company was founded back in 1946 by Harold Graham and Henry Brown. They were setting up a wallpaper business at a time when there was a paper shortage following the war. They had heard that there was some surplus metallic foil available, foil that had been used during the war to block enemy radar. They saw this as a perfect substitute for paper. So, using their homes as collateral, they purchased the foil and an embossing machine and created the first ever wallpaper for Graham & Brown. The company continued to innovate through the 80s with the introduction of vinyl wallpaper, and I'm sure there's a few in here who probably remember our catchy Super Fresco advert from the 80s. Each year, we sell over 12 million rolls of wallpaper. We've got offices around the world, because we were just talking about international before, and for the last 7 years, we've been a certified cool brand, alongside the likes of Apple and Mercedes-Benz. This year, we're really proud to announce that we are finalists in Retail Week's Tech Awards, so this is the app that we're going to talk about today. However, our goal as a company, though, is to inspire people to create beautiful homes. We have an in-house design studio that create over 600 new designs each year. And we have a design archive that spans back over the last 70 years. We also collaborate with famous designers like Kelly Hoppen, Barbara Hulanicki and Wayne Hemingway. We have a marketing team that creates stunning visuals that really appeal to the Instagram world we live in today. With wallpaper, you can create bold, beautiful and unique rooms. We have choices to suit every room and every taste, and we know our customers spend time browsing for inspiration rather than browsing for products. A lot of our customers will want to try a sample of the paper or paint before they make that final decorating decision. So here's where our problem starts. So you're now sat at home trying to visualize your wall beautifully decorated based on the small sample of wallpaper you just bought from the website. As you can see, it's incredibly difficult to see the repeat of the colours and the patterns on the wall. All that inspiration has been lost. And we know that because only 1 in 20 of our customers will go on to purchase wallpaper after buying a sample. So that's 19 people with intent to decorate have been lost in that journey. So we thought we could solve this problem using innovative new technology. So here's the Microsoft Hololens. It's incredibly advanced. It can use spatial mapping and map out a 3D area surrounding it. From there, you can then put holographic images on any surface and at any point. We created a program that mapped out an entire room and put wallpaper on the wall. It was incredible until we stopped to think about our customers. So let's just see how many people in here own a Microsoft HoloLens. None, perfect, right? Okay, so we'd failed. Like magpies, we were drawn to the shiny, shiny technology rather than thinking about how we solve a problem for our customers. But lucky for us, the solution was now in most people's hands. So Apple introduced AR Kit last year, which allows for augmented reality. So augmented reality is a mix of the real world through your phone's camera and computer-generated images. So how many people here have an iPhone? Slightly more. Brilliant, okay. So we didn't want to make the same mistake and we looked on Google Analytics. We could see that 65% of our traffic coming to our website was using compatible Apple devices. So we created a very simple prototype that showed one wallpaper being put onto a wall. We demonstrated the prototype to the business and they were incredibly impressed. The CEO was even prepared to mortgage his house to complete the work. So at this point, we had a massive decision to make. Do we try and do the work ourselves or do we hand it over to an expert team to complete the work for us? Well, our team had never built a commercial app before, let alone one using the latest technologies. So we thought, actually, why don't we see this as an opportunity though, rather than a challenge? An opportunity to learn about new technology, an opportunity to bring together people from different areas of the business to solve a proper business problem, and an opportunity for that small team to learn a lot more about our customers' habits and behaviours. But if we can do the work ourselves, we need to think differently. We needed a team to act like a startup. We were getting the team focused on that leap of faith assumption that if they created an app to visualize wallpaper on the wall, we could improve the conversion rate of 1 in 20. We'd already proven the technical capabilities, but what no one would know is whether or not a customer would want to use an app as part of the decorating journey. See, augmented reality was still incredibly new back then, and there was only people like IKEA or Pokemon Go leading the way forward. So for us, this would be a huge learning exercise and a big experiment. To minimise that risk, we asked for £50,000 funding. So we would use the funding to pay for phones, tablets, user research, and any external help the team might need on that journey. Without having to go to agencies, we didn't have to wait for meetings or preferred supplier lists. With the funding in place, we could start ASAP. It was then down to the team to work out how best to invest that £50,000 to create a minimal viable product fit for launch. So we demonstrated the prototype, and the key stakeholders from the business all wanted to give their ideas about how to make this the killer app. So we needed to manage scope creep. We did that by saying our leap of faith assumption was that the app is only there to visualize the wallpaper on the wall. If the idea didn't help the customer visualize the wallpaper, we removed it from scope immediately. This cut down our timescales, but what we needed to know is whether or not the app would be successful. So we created some very simple success criteria, and that was based on user research. So we would bring customers into user research labs, give them the phone, and ask them to show wallpaper on the wall. That sounds incredibly simple. Augmented reality works very well at detecting flaws, but it can't find walls. So therefore, a customer would have to create a wall before the customer put the wallpaper on it. If they struggled in that process, we knew that the app would be a failure. So what we needed to see was happy customers who found the app easy to use before we could launch the app. With over 5 years' experience as the UX lead at Graham & Brown, Steph was then the perfect person to lead and guide our team about our customers. Steph.
Thank you very much. So, who is our customer? It was really important we knew the answer to this question. By answering this question, we could ensure that every time we went out into one of our testing sessions, we were testing with people who could ultimately be using our app in the real world. Our customer's female. She's me. She's many of you in this room today. She could be your mum, your sister, or your aunt. What I actually mean by this, beyond being female, our demographic is really broad. She's aged between 25 and 60. She does own her own home, but she could be a first-time buyer with no children. She could be a lady with a 4-bedroom detached family home, or she's one of the lucky ones whose children have finally flown the nest and she's looking to downsize. She is a savvy shopper. She'll shop at Aldi and Marks and Spencer's, Tesco and Waitrose. And when looking for inspiration, she will go to her DIY stores, she'll look on the high street, she'll look in interior magazines, and she'll use Pinterest and Instagram. Now, focusing in on our app, has she used immersive technology before? Not likely, unless she got caught up in Pokemon Go, but mainly down to her kids. But, as Paul said, she does have an iPad or an iPhone. So we understood who our customer was. We started to think about what data did we actually want to collect from using this app. We brought together IT, marketing, eCommerce and the app team. And I'm sure as all of you will have experienced, different departments and different roles have different ideas of what data is important to them. So here's a snapshot of just some of the ideas put forward. And then we went through every single one. Why did we want to collect it? What insight would it actually give us? And would that insight lead to creating an app that's easier for the customer to use? If the answer was, well, it'd be interesting to know that, no. Not good enough. We weren't going to collect it. It had to lead back to genuine insight that would lead us to actions. So, we knew our MVP, we knew what data we wanted, and we knew who our customer was. Then we started to think about how are we actually going to test this app? How are we going to define, was it going to be a success? We got quotes in from the experts, and a session would cost around £5,000, a single session. I could have blown that budget within a couple of weeks. Or we could do it ourselves for around £500. Great, save ourselves a heap of money, get more sessions done. But is cheaper better? We all know the answer isn't always the case. We had to think about what other benefits would we get from doing it ourselves. Well, what it actually meant was we create a level of empathy and understanding of our customer, and it would give us an instant feedback loop to develop the app in the way our customer wants it. It also meant that every member of the team could come along on this journey with us and attend our user testing sessions. So, we actually split our testing into internal and external rounds. Other than the key stakeholders within the business, which, to be honest, were directors and heads of department, nobody in the business really knew what we were trying to create. And this made our colleagues great testers. We started testing internally from week 4. We'd sit with 4 or 5 of our colleagues, we'd record the sessions. After a day of testing, we'd sit down as an app team, discuss what we'd seen, decide what improvements had to be made, get the developers to work, and 2 or 3 days later, we'd do the whole process again. And this was the exact same method we used when it came to external testing. Twice a week, myself and another member of the app team, either Paul, one of the developers, or a technical architect, would head out to Manchester. And after a day of testing, we'd head back to the office with screen and session recordings, sit down as a team, discuss what we'd seen, agree the improvements, set to work, and 2 or 3 days later, head back over to Manchester. It was a very intense period of time, but on reflection, we waited far too long before getting our app in the hands of our target demographic. We always knew bringing AI to the hands of our customer was going to involve a learning curve. I think it's fair to say we never realised how much of a learning curve. Really quickly, we noticed that customers struggled mapping a wall. And it was fundamental. If they couldn't map the wall, how were they ever going to be able to view products on it? When customers did have a wall mapped, they loved it. They could quickly and easily view different wallpapers and paints on the wall, could add it to the basket, and was completely inspired. But mapping the wall was a lot trickier than we ever anticipated. Every session left us scratching our heads. Okay, so move close to the wall. Let's put an on-screen prompt. People's opinions of what close to the wall are very different, and definitely differed from what we anticipated. Okay, move 20 centimetres away from the wall. Let's get really specific about how far we want. This resulted in one lady standing around a metre away from the wall, arguing with the app as to why it's telling her to get 20 centimetres away. Okay, so it was a case of 1 step forwards and 2 steps backwards. We'd started to overcomplicate things and were clearly confusing our customer. And a team favourite had to be the session when one lady requested from our technical architect a ladder so she could place a marker in the top corner. Certainly not something we ever anticipated having asked of us. All this insight we'd never have got from doing it with an agency. We'd created an instant feedback loop, and we truly understood what our customers were doing with our app. We were chipping away a mountain that we'd actually created, and we began to lose hope. Paul then suggested, look at our connections. Who can we sit in a room with, get them to test the app and talk UX. Luckily, we had a fantastic relationship with AR.com, and it sounds like a few of you in the room today do too. So we headed down the motorway. We sat with our UX team and we handed the app over, and they loved it. They saw the potential, but understood the problems that we were facing. We actually felt re-energised and ready to go again. So headed back to Graham & Brown. We locked ourselves in a room for half a day and we wireframed completely different ideas. We had to think like it was day one again, with an understanding of our customer and drawing in on the empathy and understanding that we got from these sessions, but we had to forget everything we knew. 2 or 3 days later, me and Paul headed back over to Manchester, and I think it's fair to say we'd never been as nervous going into a session before. Do you agree with that?
Definitely. More nervous than standing up here, put it that way.
Tester 1 came in. She could do it. Okay, our eyes lit up a little bit. We messaged the team back at the office, but obviously didn't want to get hopes up too much. It could have been a fluke. Tester 2 came in and success. Okay, we did actually start to get a little bit excited and have a few little fist pumps as she left the room. 3 out of the 4 testers that day successfully used the app, and we were over the moon. Went back to the office and made a few tweaks, and then headed out for what we hope would be our last testing session before we went live. So, 4 months after starting this journey, the Graham & Brown app launched. Now live in 55 countries and 3 languages, the app fully supports the scope of grahamandbrown.com. And Paul is hopefully going to be able to give us a demo.
Watch the AV guy in the corner because this goes wrong now.
So, our customer simply needs to place markers in 3 corners of their wall, and then they can go on and select from over 600 wallpapers and 200 paint colours. This is how you can tell it's truly live and we've not pre-recorded. As you can see, you got one. The app also tells the customer Can you close your toolbar, Paul? Thank you. The app tells the customer how many rolls or cans they require and how much it's actually going to cost them to decorate the area they've selected, meaning there's absolutely no need for them to get a tape measure out and move things. The customer also has the ability to cut out any objects or furniture, such as doors, windows or sofas. This means they can choose any wallpaper or paint and visualise it true to colour and true to scale with their existing furniture in their own homes. We've also added the ability to like products. This is from the data we've seen on grahamandbrown.com. We know a customer doesn't just choose one wallpaper or a paint colour and go for it. They like to browse a number of products and narrow down that selection. So having a like list and being able to swipe through allows them to do this at ease. We've also taken on board that customers do like to share and discuss these selections before committing. So the customer can take a snapshot and they have the ability to send that to their partner via text or email, but they also can add it to any of their social networks, and in particular Pinterest. So by adding it to a Pinterest board, the customer can come back weeks later, can see which products it was they loved, exactly how many rolls or cans they needed, click through from this and go directly to the product page on grahamandbrown.com and purchase. There we go. So that's the demo on where we are so far. Great. So that's what we created. But what have we learned so far? Well, here's a genuine snapshot of our data funnel. We had to set up all our own analytics and decide how we wanted to track. And we thought it was really important to understand the customer journey, from how many people are downloading the app, whether they are giving us an email address or continuing as guest, whether they were actually displaying intent when using the app. And for us, intent meant, are they liking products? Are they sharing and taking snapshots of products? And are they adding it to the basket all the way through to checkout? By tracking it this way, we very quickly noticed we had a usability issue between the email sign up and guest page and the create wall. This means we can now spend time and resource in the area where our customers are having problems and find solutions. Has the app been a success? So going back right to the beginning when Paul said what our conversion from sample to purchase was, 1 in 20. We've seen a 50% increase in customers visualising to purchase compared to sample to purchase, and it is significantly quicker to that purchase. We've also inspired our customers to have the confidence to purchase bold, colourful wallpapers and paints to decorate their homes how they want to.
Thank you. So it did feel like a huge risk deciding to do the app ourselves. It's so easy to try and hand it over to an external team. But as Steph said, we learnt a lot along that journey. And we learnt a lot about how customers use augmented reality. For us, we knew we couldn't launch the app until we met that success criteria. But as Steph said, we started too late. As a company that's known for design and brand, we felt scared giving our customers a very rough and ready prototype. So that's probably our biggest lesson that we learn along that journey, is get the prototypes into people's hands early and understand how they use it. We'd also had to draw upon the expertise of our network. We know if we hadn't have gone to AO.com, we would probably still be working on the app, or we would have run out of the cash very quickly. So it was good to speak to people who could offer us some help and advice. So that's always one thing of working with other people and non-competes. Ask about the projects and what they're doing. This was different from a traditional project as well in our business, where most people have probably seen project plans and Gantt charts and sighed about when's our delivery date. Our delivery date was based on the success criteria and not running out of money. The team had complete visibility of what we're spending that £50,000 on, so they knew we had to account for every penny. We couldn't go back and ask for more money, that was unless anyone else in the team wanted to mortgage their homes as well. So we had to get through that process as quickly as possible without burning our cash. So at the end, as Steph said, we completed the work within 4 months and at a total cost of £48,000. Thank you very much.